Hey everybody, this is Darth Boy. I recorded, the video that I said I was going to post after I saw Rise of Skywalker. I decided to post earlier, and apparently that video is going to have a few comments on it. I've decided not to click the comments, both to keep as much of an open mind as possible, because while I was scrolling through YouTube, which I knew was a terrible idea, I saw the RT score. It was a little disappointing and upsetting. And it really shouldn't be, because again, it's just a fucking movie. Okay? It's a movie. It's a movie in a series I love. But at the same time, it's a movie. And then I checked the actual RT score, and it's a little better than it was before. Hopefully, the score will go up more and more as more people see the film. I'm seeing it with my friend and my family. My hopes are that this will be a satisfying end to the entire saga. That's hope number one. Hope number two is, as I include this in the Star Wars marathon, that I will love it more and more as I see it. And the third one is, I hope I get as emotional of an experience as I got out of The Last Jedi. And I know this isn't a very unpopular opinion to have of that movie, but personally, I love The Last Jedi. And I think what I should stop doing is caring about the drama that goes into the Star Wars fandom and the community. I really should just stop giving a shit, because it's not something I care about, but, you know, sometimes you see something that catches your eye and you become interested, even if you try your best to not be interested. Sometimes your brain goes, ooh. It's like kind of the nature of the tabloid cycle and the clickbaity shit. I'm going to be seeing the movie in a few hours. I'm going to be seeing the movie in an hour, a little under, I think an hour and 40-some minutes, which I'm very much looking forward to. I hope it's great. I hope I love it. I hope I cry. Those are my main hopes for this movie. And I hope I can just move past this cynical crap, because I've gotten sick of it, you know? I don't believe that people who have just become cynical about the direction of Star Wars have become cynical because of some type of monetary gain or whatever. I do believe it's genuine. Someone. I can see people getting depressed and disappointed with the direction Star Wars is heading. I personally love what's happening with the franchise, and the more lore, the better. But at the same time, I do understand the positions that some people might have who might not. I have to trim my mustache. That's why I'm playing with it. I can understand why some people might not like the direction of the series. I've heard this movie might be a bit of a mess, and that might be fun in its own right. It would be really heartbreaking if this doesn't go in the direction of Endgame and Toy Story 4, where those two movies I love to death. I think they were fantastic finales to their respective series. Now, granted, Toy Story is a very small franchise, but it's my favorite, and the Avengers films have always had this long-ass thing. But Star Wars has just been around since as long as I can remember, since I was alive, you know? I never knew a time before Star Wars. So there's that. I have a little water left, So this got a little more, it's just weird. So, with that in mind, live long and prosper, and may the Force be with you. So I shot this video a while ago. I shot a webcam video really quick. But I thought, may as well do a DSLR video, fuck it. Because that's better, I think. Rise of Skywalker is fan service the movie. There is no other way I can define it other than fan service the movie. It's ridiculous. It's over the top. The way Palpatine is brought back and how it's explained is kind of ridiculous. But at the same time, did I not have a blast watching this fucking movie? If I were going to describe the sequel trilogy for me, it does feel a bit narratively inconsistent. You know, that's what some people are saying about it. But at the same time, I do wonder if it's... I mean, you gotta look at this as the whole thing of the Star Wars saga as well. I mean, the Star Wars saga as a whole, and I know now this particular part of Star Wars is now called the Skywalker saga, but I always remember being the Star Wars saga, so I'm going to call it the Star Wars saga. Has always had some layer of inconsistency, even with the original film. I mean, I think we're more used to how the original trilogy is structured because we've all grown up with it in some form or another. We weren't there to see each of these come out, so we have a different perception of them. I do think when you watch all the sequel movies together that they're going to have a narrative flow. It's really weird because I love The Last Jedi. It is my favorite of this new era of Star Wars, as I said in the last video. But I don't feel that The Rise of Skywalker is a spit in the face of anything the last movie touched on. And I've seen that movie many times and have come to appreciate it more and more with each viewing of it. But I do think a lot of these things were hinted at in The Last Jedi as well. Not Rey's lineage, which, spoilers, you'll see when you see the movie. I'm not a fan, I'm still not happy with that part. And I feel very mixed on how Rey's lineage is handled and where she comes from. Now, granted, within the context of the film, it doesn't really matter where Rey's lineage is from, because Rey, at the end of the day, while she's a very conflicted character, is still the essence of a Jedi Knight, and is no more conflicted than Luke, or Anakin, or Obi-Wan, or even Yoda, you know? And I love that about Rey as a character in this film. Rey is the Jedi, the new Jedi Order. I'm not sure if that was a spoiler or not. I'm going to put minor spoilers in the title, just in case anything I say might hint at a spoiler, which it might. It's so weird because, and I'm going to say this because I feel it needs to be said. Out of all the movies that I was very excited about, this is the one, if I'm going to look at it from a more critical standpoint, is the least good one, unfortunately. I think Toy Story 4 is better than this. I think Endgame is better than this. But Endgame also has like a lot of fan service craziness going on in that. So it's like, I'm not sure. It's so weird because this is fan servicey as fuck. But that's fine for what this movie is. It's like I expected this movie to be the most fan service movie of all of them. And yet, I still feel conflicted, despite it meeting my expectations. Despite things I was hoping and thinking were going to happen, happening. This is kind of the movie I was hoping it would be. And there are a few twists and turns that kind of make me go, WTF. I'm not sure if that is a good thing or not. Because Star Wars always has a lot of twists to it. And this movie is very lore heavy. And it's interesting how they handle it. The performances are all great. I think the pacing is fine enough. It's insane. And honestly, I would have been fine if this movie was as long as the previous movie, if not longer. But I think this one is the one movie in this trilogy that I feel genuinely conflicted about. I don't hate it by any means. And it was an emotional film, but it wasn't like the emotional kind of level I got out of The Last Jedi. I think The Last Jedi, for me personally, had a lot of, like, this deep spirituality, this drive of discovering oneself after you fucked up, and you just figure out who you are, you figure out your place in this world, and you figure out, you know, there's certain things that you can't figure out. I do think that this trilogy, when you watch it all together, will flow very nicely. You know, I keep saying that, but it's just... The more I think about it, the more mixed I become. It's like, I expected this to be fan-servicey. I got the fan-serviciness. But then, it's like, I'm still not entirely satisfied with the fan-serviciness. And that's very strange. I'm going to have to rewatch this movie, obviously, several times. I do plan on watching this movie in the theater a few more times. In terms of ranking of the sequel films, this is my ranking. Last Jedi, Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker. I think that's all I have to say about this. So, you might like this better than me. And you might hate it more than me. Well, you might hate it. I don't hate it, I should say. I'm also just very tired. So I guess may the Force be with you. I'm going to have to think on this one a little more. I'm going to rewatch this one a lot more. I think that's mainly it. So definitely check this movie out. It is worthy of a theatrical experience. It just depends on what you're looking for. Depending on what you're looking for, you might be more disappointed than not. So that's all.